Good morning and welcome, river lovers. I'm Russ Baxter, the Acting Director of the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and we are more than pleased to have Governor McDonnell here with us today for this important celebration. This is the 40th anniversary of the establishment of the Scenic River Program in Virginia, and in fact we are having this ceremony, if the train will allow me to say it, on a stretch of scenic river. The Falls of the James was designated in 1972 as a scenic stretch of one of Virginia's waterways. Before we begin the ceremony, I would just like to take a moment to publicly thank the individuals and organizations responsible for this event. First of all, I'd like to very much thank our board. The Scenic River Advisory Board, Dick Gibbons is the chair, who are here today, and especially the members of the board who serve, thank you. Especially the members of the board who served on the 40th Anniversary Planning Committee, Patty Jackson, who's here, Edward Mullen, and Ellen Shepard, who are all around here somewhere. I would like to thank also very much some of the DCR staff who were instrumental in this event today, Lynn Crump, Kim Hodge, and Esther Zabronsky. And we are also very grateful for the generosity of Dominion, who's represented here today by Bill Murray and Jim Beamer. I think they're around here somewhere. Bill, how are you? And the American Civil War Center at Historic Tredegar, represented here by Christy Coleman and Adam Scher. And Christy and Adam, I know I saw them earlier. There they are back there. Thank you very much. I would just also like to recognize that we have representation from a number of organizations that are interested in rivers, conservation, and natural resources. Here today with us are representatives of the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay, the Appomattox State Scenic River Advisory Board, the Board of Conservation and Recreation, the folks from the Blackwater River, the City of Richmond, from Dominion, from the Falls of the James Scenic River Advisory Board, the Historic Falls of the James Advisory Board, the Lower James Scenic River Advisory Board, the Hughes Scenic River and Jordan Scenic River folks, Lake Anna, the Nottoway River. There are a number of past members of the Scenic River Board, from Rappahannock. There are individuals from Rappahannock and Clark County, from the Richmond National Battlefield, from the Rivanna, from the Crater PDC, from the Council of Indians, from the Virginia Association for Parks. We have quite a representation here today, and thank you all for being here today. It's my great pleasure now, and his duty will be to introduce the governor, is to present our Secretary of Natural Resources, the Honorable Doug Domenech.
Thanks, Russ. Thanks, everyone, for coming out on this day. We've been blessed again pretty much all this week with great weather, as I have forced the governor to do all these outside events. It's all worked out pretty well. During the last month, the governor has participated in a number of events around the Commonwealth surrounding Earth Day, including speaking to environmental leaders in Lexington, hiking and planting trees with kids in Lee Sylvania State Park, addressing the Virginia Forestry Association, announcing historic land conservation in Chancellorsville, and last night hosting the Commonwealth's conservation leaders at the historic Governor's Mansion. So it's been very busy time. The governor has made it a priority of his administration to conserve the Commonwealth's vast natural resources while creating more jobs for Virginians. Today, we have the pleasure of celebrating the 40th anniversary of Virginia's tremendous Scenic River program at this ceremony here on the banks of the James River. And I just wanted to take a moment to quote something that the governor has said. We know that when we take common sense steps to encourage conservation and environmental protection, it's good for our environment, our quality of life, and our economy. So with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce the Governor of Virginia.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning. Thanks, Secretary Dominich, for your good work and leadership in this first 100 days of the administration. Russ Baxter, for your ongoing leadership at DCR. I'm glad that all of you are here today. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of Earth Day. That was exciting. I remember as a young kid participating in activities in Northern Virginia in high school. And I know I don't look that old, but I did. And I appreciate all the leaders from the environmental and conservation community that came, and historic community that came together last night at the governor's house to get to know one another and talk about these important issues for our future. I'm pleased today to be here on the banks of the historic James River to support yet another milestone, and that's the 40th anniversary now of the Virginia Scenic Rivers program. I'm delighted to be joined by General Washington, a former ally of mine. I grew up just like he did on the banks of the Potomac River, in fact, a mile from Mount Vernon. So thank you, General, for joining us here today, and keep the Potomac scenic, will you, please? I want to commend Dick Gibbons and his leadership on the board. Dick, thanks for all that you and the team have done really over the last 40 years, but particularly with your leadership recently, and your partnership with the Virginia Department of Conservation. And Bruce, I know that's that other railroad. Is there anything you can do about it? They must not be supporting the environment. I don't know. But I appreciate the work, Dick, that you and the team have done to keep this great program not only alive, but with some of the bills we got passed this year, actually to thrive and expand in a historic way. I appreciate the work of Dominion and the work here at Tredegar and the American Civil War Center that's based here that I think we'll see soon for their support. It was 40 years ago when my predecessor, Governor Holton, with the leadership of Senator Fitzgerald Bemis, created this program by his signature in the General Assembly. It took until 1979, though, for the Rivanna River to contribute the first miles of a segment of the river to start in earnest the Virginia Scenic Rivers program. This year really was the banner year, in a way, in extending the number of rivers and the number of miles in the program. 4 pieces of legislation that were introduced and that I have signed to add 81 miles to the program, now up to 610 miles, 28 river segments that are now a part of the program. So it was a tremendous expansion in protected rivers. We had a bill sponsored by Delegate Bud Phillips that preserved a portion of the Russell Fork River in Dickinson County. It's a spectacular river that I've seen now a couple times in the last year. Of course, I've seen every river in Virginia in the last year as I campaigned for governor. A bill patroned by Delegate Todd Gilbert for the Jordan River in Rappahannock County, and also co-patroned by Delegate Ed Scott. Delegate Gilbert also patroned legislation to designate a portion of the Hughes River in Rappahannock County. And finally, Delegate Chris Jones and Senator Louise Lucas dedicating a portion of the Blackwater River in Isle of Wight, Southampton, and Franklin, and Suffolk, one that I know very, very familiar with and have been on a couple times on canoes. But these new designations this year are terrific, from the lazy Blackwater to the flowing Hughes to the vigorous Russell Fork and the mountains and valleys in southwest Virginia. We now have dramatically expanded this program. This program works very well because it's really a grassroots, bottom-up approach where local governments and local conservationists can choose to designate a portion of a river for consideration in the program, and then working with DCR to seek a patron of a bill to add the miles of a river. I think this is really an important and the right way for us to continue to protect and designate our rivers. This is really important for the future for our young people. Not only does Article 11 require us to do things like that, but we can see when we protect our rivers, particularly those that flow into the Chesapeake Bay, that we get great results. We were just able to announce this week a marvelous comeback for the Virginia blue crab, a 60% increase in the crab population here in this last couple years. So all the work and the hard work that many of you have done for a long time, Patty and others, is paying off. This is a great place to do it. Not only is it a terrific venue, but we're actually standing on the shores of the river where America began, just down the river a little bit. And I know you think it's Jamestown. It was actually Virginia Beach, where I lived for 21 years. That gave the original 17-day birth to our nation. But our rivers are really a lifeblood of not only of history, but of our economy, and obviously marvelous opportunities for tourism, for conservation, for recreation, and it's so important that this program stay alive and well. So for you, Dick, for your leadership, for Russ and Doug and all of you that represent DCR that have done so much to give life to the program, for you that are leaders in local government, our former Secretary of Administration, Viola, thank you for coming and your work on the program in the past, and all of you from the public and private sector that believe truly that conservation is an important value, not only because it's required by law, but because it's the right thing to do for all posterity. I salute you today for your good work, and look forward to being back here in 40 years for the 80th commemoration of the Virginia Scenic Rivers Program. Thank you very much.